Good evening, everybody. I'm Steve Rose. I'm in fairly damp Darlington, and I trust you're all well. I particularly welcome people for whom this is the first time they've been to a toy box briefing session. In the 144 people who signed up to be here tonight, but around two-thirds said that they hadn't been involved before. So it's a particular welcome to you. And I should also say welcome to people who have joined us from outside of Rotary, Great Britain and Ireland. I noticed we've got Elizabeth in Florida, and I don't know if we've got any others, but you're very welcome as well. I'm very much just chairing tonight's meeting. The people who do all the work will be speaking to you soon. And as Jannine says, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box, and we will do all we can to answer your questions. I was very, very impressed with the range of questions that we received in advance, and during the course of this presentation, we are going to attempt to answer all of them. If those of you who know me know that I don't intend to have long meetings. We try and be succinct and pithy and get the relevant information out to you for this very, very exciting project, and the second year that we've run it as Rotary Great Britain and Ireland with our partners Kids in Mind. Or really, it's the other way around with this project. It's a Kids in Mind project that we in Rotary are happy to support. I should just say one little thing to people again, if you haven't been involved with the Rotary toy boxes before, is that if you do run another toy box club or in your district, please don't think in any way that we are trying to compete with anybody else. We're certainly not doing that. But this is just a national option, and you'll hear from Kids in Mind how it works and how we are trying to give a very good Christmas to every child who's in a women's refuge across Great Britain and Northern Ireland. That having been said, and I said I wouldn't go on too long, I will now hand over to Gordon Moulds, who's the chair of Kids in Mind, whose project this is, and we are happy to support. So I should tell everyone who hasn't met Gordon before, he is also a Rotarian. He's one of us. So Gordon, good evening. Welcome. Over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to talk for a few minutes about Kids in Mind. Jannine put an excellent article in the September edition of the Rotary magazine that tells you all about the need for the toys and why they're so important. But Kids in Mind, our focus is actually on crisis recovery of children that have escaped serious domestic violence and find themselves in a refuge. The children in refuge, according to the Birmingham Crisis Centre, over 50% have personally suffered serious abuse, mainly sexual, against them, and virtually all of them will be suffering from type 3 trauma, which is complex trauma. I'm not going to go into the detail of the different traumas, but type 3 trauma, there is no cure for. I was CEO of Kids Out for a long time, and I did 7 years research into what we could do more and better for children in refuge. The trustees decided to go down a different path, which is why I formed, with a couple other people, Kids in Mind. Complex trauma cannot be dealt with in the same way as other traumas. Crisis recovery is the first stage in helping them to cope. And there are three main things to do that. One is you have to provide them coping mechanisms, emotional support, and also find something they'll engage in, whether it's music, art, football, doesn't matter, but something that they'll engage in. It's an expensive business to do because you need professional, trained wellbeing practitioners to go into refuge and deal with small groups just for 30, 40 minutes at a time to help them with coping strategies. It's all non-verbal, and there's a lot more to do with that. But the children we're dealing with later in life go on to have the highest rate of suicide out of any group of children in the UK. They also have a high rate of runaways and excluded from school. The normal coping mechanism without support is turning to drink and drugs. However, with proper support, it goes from 26% do not turn to drugs by the age of 18 to 86% do not. And that is where we're covering and we're aiming to improve. I'm not going to go into too much detail unless anyone wants to. Please contact me. Personally, more than happy at Kids in Mind. But what I will ask is if any Rotarians here help your local refuge, could you let me know? Because we're trying to expand and get our services into a lot more refuges. And it's a very complex and tricky way to get in. So if you're already helping your local refuge, I'd appreciate if you could contact Kids in Mind and let us know so that we can provide our well-being services into that refuge. Toys and days out are actually vital for the children's recovery. The most important thing, according to a very good government report that came out not that long ago, is it's vital for children who have been abused to have something positive to look back on. And that's what we're doing, giving them positive things to think about. The toys of Christmas for the mother, it's about self-esteem. Some of the children, a lot don't, but a lot still go to school. And of course, their friends will have toys and everything else. The mothers in refuge tend to have nothing other than clothes on the back because they've escaped violence. So this, for me, is a vital project to do. Don't intend to go on any longer. Steve is going to do that for me. And any questions, please, on chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. The person who just came into chat saying if there's anything you can do, it's Shahad. Exactly what Steve Cartwright is going to talk about in a minute, as Gordon said, but thank you for the offer, Shahad. I do apologise that in Rotary Great Britain and Ireland, I have yet to go to a meeting where there's not at least two Steves. And of the four presenters tonight, there's two of us are called Steve. So I'm Steve R, and I'm now going to introduce you to Steve Cartwright in a minute. But first, the person who acts as the main coordinator for the toy boxes is Dorothy Pulsford-Harris, and she's unable to be with us tonight. So Jannine has made a short introduction from Dorothy, so you can meet her. She's the person available to contact if you've got any queries about funding and payments and things. So could you play the little message from Dorothy, please?
Right, good evening, everybody. Firstly, my apologies for not being with you for the toy box launch this evening. I seem to have managed to treble book myself and my diary has finally caught up with me. But firstly, I just want to say a huge thank you to you all for the magnificent response to the 2024 Christmas Toy Box Appeal. Over 4,500 toy boxes were delivered to refuges, and I've received one or two bits of feedback. Mainly, it was a joy to see the children's faces light up on receiving their boxes and how thrilled the children were. And I think that sums it all up with the toy boxes. As you know, we're launching the 2025 Toy Box Appeal this evening. Unfortunately, it has been necessary to increase the cost of each toy box to £30. This is down to increased distribution costs by our wonderful logistics teams and having to purchase toys, although many are, of course, still donated. We still include in the toy boxes toys to the value of up to £80, so it's very, very good value. As far as payment is concerned, we did have one or two glitches last year in the credit card system. Hopefully that's now been ironed out and we will only be using backs or credit card. And if you're using a credit card to purchase, you should be able to purchase more than one box this time. I know clubs did have problems last time, but that glitch seems to have been sorted out. If you wish to purchase toy boxes, you can access the members area of the website as before. And also there will be a direct link to the purchase site rather than you having to go through the members area. Any queries, contact either myself or Steve Cartwright on funday at rotarygbi.org. Steve Cartwright will be standing in for me this evening and he will be able to answer any questions that you might have. I certainly wish you all a very good launch, and please do buy toy boxes for the children this Christmas. It is so worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy. And for the first time tonight, you've heard the generic email address funday@rotarygbi.org, which comes through to a few of us. But generally, when it comes to toy box queries, it will be Dorothy responding, or Steve Cartwright if it's to do with distribution. Generally, although if no one responds, it will be Jannine and I responding to you. So you should get an answer quickly. As we've said a few times, Steve Cartwright is here tonight in person, and he's imagine he's Dorothy. It says on the slide, which is quite difficult to do. Steve, as you know, has been a stalwart of both the funday and the toy boxes, and I'm very grateful to him for all the work he does, the communication with the district advisors, and he does a lot of the hard graft and takes the load off the rest of us. So, Steve, thank you from me. Welcome tonight, and I'll hand over to you to go through your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much indeed, Steve. It's great to see that we've got some, shall I say, newbies or additional Rotarians and clubs who hopefully will want to get involved following this launch. Just to recap where we're at here. We are talking of providing a Rotary Christmas toy box for every child in a domestic violence refuge throughout Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And the strapline we have is every refuge as a Rotary children's toy box for every child. So that's our particular aim. So we're looking at generally, I think the last count was about 5,500 children would be estimated to be in a domestic violence refuge at Christmas this year. So we're aiming to provide a individual toy box to each of those children. And when I say individual toy box, we are talking of a toy box that's applicable by age and gender. It is not one box fits all. It's one box that fits a boy or a girl of a certain age. These are all new toys that are selected specifically because we know, or shall I say, Kids in Mind have done a survey on the matter, that they know that the toys in that box will be toys that children would want to play with. So it's not just any old toys that are chucked in a box and hope for the best. There is thought and consideration given. And yes, there is over £80 worth of toys in each box. I repeat, over £80 worth. And what we're saying to each club, each Rotarian here, for every box containing £80 worth of new toys, we're asking a donation from each club or a Rotarian or anybody for that matter, £30, which covers the cost of that box. So I think the return is quite good on that. Now, how can we do all of this? Well, firstly, the way the system operates is the Kids in Mind give us the details of all the refuges around Great Britain and Northern Ireland. I say Northern Ireland because unfortunately from a diplomatic point of view, as well as everything else, we can only cover refuges in Northern Ireland. We cannot get involved in Southern Ireland. But that's an issue we're trying to resolve with the rest of District 1160. The thing about this is each of the districts, each of the 24 districts in Rotary GBandI, we have what we call a district advisor. Apart from districts 1150, 1160 and 1285. That is South Wales, Ireland and around about the Manchester area. We are endeavouring to get an advisor. Each of the advisors in the remaining 21 districts have already got details of the approximate location of the refuge and the indicative number of children which will be in refuge at Christmas this year. So, certainly what we aim to do is try and provide toy boxes to each individual child to a refuge nearest your club location. That's the plan. Bearing in mind, of course, as I said before, there's 5,500 children. It used to work out I think there's about 3 Rotary clubs for every refuge around Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So we can afford to share it about. So we're not expecting one club to provide all the boxes for one refuge. But it does require a team effort to do this. So in your district, if you wish to know where your particular your nearest refuge is, approximately, we don't go down the route of giving out details. then please make contact with your Rotary District Advisor. And if you want to know who that is, then we'll get on the funday email address and we can answer that question and point you in the right direction if you don't know. I'm pleased to say some of the district advisors are already on this meeting as well. They have the details, I repeat, of all the refuges in their particular district with an indicative number of children to be residing at Christmas. They were there to guide you. Now, so you've got one refuge with, say, 10 children. That's a total of £300 at £30 a box. Now, as a club, maybe you wish to do that on your own. Maybe you speak to your neighbouring clubs and you share it between you. That's great. Effectively, it's all we need to do, and we'll go on how we register and how we pay for the boxes shortly when we go through the registration form. We do not wish clubs to get involved in speaking directly with their local refuge, trying to find out, asking awkward questions. We appreciate that some clubs already deal with their local refuge, and long may that continue, as Gordon has mentioned. But if you aren't already dealing with your local refuge, please, please, please do not go ferreting around, because that could cause more problems than exist. And we are quite capable, via Kids in Mind, in dealing with the refuge remotely, because once the £30 per box has been paid as a donation, Kids in Mind will then take care of the rest. They will pack the box, and I'll come on to box packing in a minute. They will make sure the box is packed, and they will deliver each individual Rotary children's toy box directly to the refuge in time for Christmas. We as Rotarians, as Rotary clubs, we haven't got to do anything else. We've not got to take delivery. We've not got to personally deliver the box. Indeed, we try to avoid any further contact because, of course, it's a sensitive subject we're dealing with here. So just to repeat, it's £30 per toy box. We'll go through the registration form and how to do that shortly. And once the £30 donation has been paid, you can on the form you'll see there is a section where you can name a refuge, so you hopefully will get the boxes delivered to your nearest or preferred refuge. Well, that really all depends on how soon or how late you send your donation, because of course we fill up, and if maybe some refuges are quite popular, and maybe we have to then offload the toy boxes to your next nearest refuge. Bearing in mind, of course, that children in refuge won't necessarily have come from your area. In fact, probably hardly ever. They may have travelled 30, 40 or even 50 miles away from where they used to live for safety reasons. So really, if you want any information, the funday email is there to be had. Dorothy, we've done this now. This will be our 5th year of doing this. So we do know what we're doing. We're experienced in sorting it out. And if you've got any questions on that, please use the funday address. Now, I mentioned packing. Yes, unlike previous years, we tried to expand the idea of Rotarians providing service in packing the toy boxes. And basically, yes, well, so far we have got Northampton, District 1070, we have Stratford, District 1130, and Newcastle, District 1030. We're looking at Glasgow at the moment, but that's causing us a problem, and I know Gordon Moulds is working on it. The point is, there are 3 locations that are going to be open for business around about the middle of October through to the end of November. If you wish to volunteer, please use the funday email address, which Jannine has put on chat. Use the funday address stating you're interested, your club, your district, and we'll put you on the list. We're still finalising the actual availability details. I do know Newcastle, for instance, they are Monday to Friday, whereas Stratford and Northampton, I believe, currently will only be available for people to pack boxes over the weekend period. We really want to go down this route because we know that a lot of Rotarians want to give service. And don't worry if your particular district stroke area has not been mentioned, because we're on the lookout for further distribution packing points. There I mentioned Manchester or Bristol, but hey, if you've got access to a free warehouse for a period of time allied to before Christmas, we'd want to know, because we could probably use that for toy boxes. Probably too late for this year, but there's also next year as well. So please, if you've got some, we're really looking at those particular areas. Now, wow, I'm looking at the chat, noticing there must be a lot of talk on there. Can we go on to the form, Jannine, please? And let's
just while we're doing, Steve, just while we're doing that, can I just say that it's Stratford in London, not Stratford-on-Avon, in case anybody misunderstood it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, sorry, Stratford, London. Well done, Steve. Thank you. Right. So, okay, how do you register? How easy is it? How easy is it? Firstly, whilst we bring it up, you don't have to access, for Rotarians, you don't have to access the members area of the Rotary GBandI website. And I do know from experience that can cause a few members a few problems. You can access the registration directly from the Rotary GBandI website, which Jannine is bringing it up. It's the public area. Notice public area, i.e. anybody. All right, click on the Our Projects. We're going to scroll down, opportunities for young people. Scroll down and then, oh, look at those grubby hands. Rotary Children's Funday. And whoa, and there we go. Here we go. Magical experience. Right, gift today. Explains it all, of some of which I've said, some I haven't. No, okay, go down there. Tells you all about the Christmas toy box. Reiterating what Dorothy has already said. And Dorothy, just to say, Dorothy is the main point of contact. She's the coordinator in all of this. She's got her finger on the pulse. Then, right, so as you scroll down, for further details, click Initiate here. Okay, don't hold your breath, people. Here we go. Oh, well, here he is. Right. Thank you, Gordon. Yeah, Gordon has just reiterated. When we talk of children, we are talking of children between the ages of 2 and 16. Repeat, 2 and 16. Thank you for that, Gordon. Right. So then that brings up, and here we go, about the Rotary Christmas toy box. Okay, we scroll down. What's the Rotary Christmas toy box and who are they for? I hope I've explained that. The aim of the project, I hope I've explained all of that too. How does it work? Here we go. Let's have a quick read of that. Yeah, mentioned about the packing and so on there. Donation information. Right, here we go, people. Eyes down looking. Wallop. What's your name? I haven't got a clue. Right, so self-explanatory, provided you fill in all the boxes. If you don't fill in all the boxes, you don't get anywhere. So, okay, Jannine, you're doing a great job. Notice, of course, it said, are you a Rotary member or not? Because this is open to everybody. Repeat, everybody. You don't have to be a Rotarian, a Rotary member. You could be Joe Blogs from anywhere. But if you want to make a donation, here we go. So, right, so you can see there. So, Jannine's ticked, no, I'm not a Rotary member. Fine. Email address. So on, phone number. We need both of that bit of information. Why? We know from experience that trying to resolve any queries that may arise from your inquiry / donation, having a phone number is infinitely more efficient and effective than just having an email. Emails can get bounced around, whereas a phone number can generally resolve the issue in one call. But okay, back to the fact. Let's assume you're a Rotary member. Here we go. Do you know are you a district member? Well, if yes, do you know your district? The reason for this is, of course, we need to sort of focus on whereabouts in the country the toy boxes would need to go. So you put yes.
Steve, this is about, are you a direct member, this question?
Oh, sorry, the direct member, sorry. If you're a direct member, yeah, that brings up the different hubs. So in other words, if you're not a member of dare I say, one of the traditional Rotary clubs, you can click on if you're a direct member and that brings it up. Sorry, Jannine, you're right. Okay, you're not a direct member, then okay, off we go on to the very. Please make sure that you click on the district that you're part of. The number of people who did click on District 1010 because it's the first one there. There's another matter, but anyway, you put the club in. That's fair enough. Okay, that's great. Okay, all right. Here we now. This is a question. Right, your club number. I have to admit I can't remember my club number, but hey, don't worry about it too much. Provided everything else is in there, we shouldn't have a problem. It does help. Email address, yeah, we've already asked for. As I reiterate, it is important that we have both your email address and a contact phone number, and your town. All right, that gives us and the postcode. Okay, all right. Is there a deadline for donations this year? No, the sooner the better. We like to get all the boxes out to the Refuges in time for Christmas, but we are accepting donations up to and including the 20th of December, albeit last year we also accepted donations after Christmas as well. Right, sorry, moving on about your donation. Right, so let me see. So we are talking, notice here, £30 per box. It needs to be made in blocks of boxes. So in other words, it has to be multiples of £30. So in this instance, Jannine's put in 5, representing 5 toy boxes. So, okay, and you're going to either pay by card or by backs, okay? We've gone down the card route, all right, or, here we go, or you can click on the backs route. All right, so as you can see there, so the backs information is there. But what if you do, once you've paid by backs, please just drop an email to the finance department to say, we have sent some money. And that way we can track it to make sure, because the one thing we do, we get a lot of transactions and we need to make sure and confirm the number of questions we get. Well, I think we've sent you a backs donation, but we've not had a receipt. Then really by doing what it says there, then please make sure you advise the finance department separately of your donation by backs. But okay, back to the card payment, please. Fantastic. Right. Then you've got the option here. Do you wish to have a supporter-specific refuge? Okay. And in this case, we've got no or we've got yes. If you go yes, then basically we'll say, go down the route. If you scroll further down, you can specify a town, or at least as near as we can get to that town. Please be aware with us, there isn't necessarily going to be a refuge in every town. So we'll go to the nearest one. So if you're the Rotary Club of Leeds, as an instance, we'll pick up on a refuge in Leeds. I know there are more than one refuge in Leeds, but hey, to bear with me, we try and supply toy boxes nearest to your club location where we can identify. I know direct membership gives us a wider choice. All right, and then if you've got a postcode, that adds to it as well. Okay, yes, we only need the first part. Just to say, if you are already working with your refuge, then please carry on to do that. This operates alongside, in addition to. This is a separate app. If you're already dealing with your refuge, please continue to do what you're doing. Use the toy boxes as a separate adjunct to it. Where are we at here? As I say, if you've got any queries, Dorothy is your person. And that's not me, it'll be Dorothy. She has her finger on the pulse. In fact, it may be that sometimes, maybe, you have a query, having spoken to your district advisor, hang on, we have a refuge in wherever, but it's not on the list. In which case, should that be the case, advise Dorothy by the funday email. We think there's a refuge in whatever location, it's not on the list. Then Dorothy can take that and we can look into it separately and investigate further on your behalf rather than you try and do all the work. Yeah, and then we go on. Would you like to be contacted about next year's initiative? Yes or no? Okay, and then of course confirm that everything, all the above is correct, and you press submit, and hey presto. paying by card. Now, last year, those of you who were involved last year, we did have a bit of a glitch with paying by card. We've resolved matters here. In other words, you can buy 1 million boxes by paying by card. We'll accept that, not a problem. Again, you just have to put your details in and confirm that the details you put in for your card are correct, and press button donate. Okay, and as you can see, Jannine put in 5 boxes. It's come up £150. That's correct, and basically just like you would pay for anything via a card, similar situation. Let's have a look. Have I covered everything? I'm sure.
Steve, there's 2 questions have come up.
Yeah.
One is there's a comment from somebody just about the actual form and the system. Is there a more user-friendly way? I'm afraid this is the form has got everything that we have to put in it for our own legal requirements and given the information. So I don't think it can get any more simple than this. And once people are in on it, into the form, hopefully it makes sense to them and it's explanatory. We will be having a button on the front page of the website eventually as well, won't we, Jannine? So there's a quicker way in than the way you had to go in tonight.
Yes, absolutely. We haven't got it up live. I mean, basically start using it from next week onwards, not tonight, please. Next week onwards, and it will be front page, so you'll be able to get to it very easily.
I'm afraid all of that information has to be in there for compliance reasons. So the second thing is, more importantly, Steve, there's a query about in the past people of clubs have grouped together and give a certain amount. Can they club together using this form?
Yes, sir. I mean, yes, certainly clubs have got together. I mean, obviously one club takes the lead and then extorts the money from their surrounding clubs, but that's not a problem. You can also put into there what you're doing in relation to area of X or the location of Y, so we can work it all out. Particularly inner city clubs may find that of benefit. I do know of at least 2 districts whereby they look at their overall commitment. In other words, they take the total number of refugees and children in their district. They then divide that up, the number of children in their district, by the number of clubs, and basically go to the clubs and say, well, we've got 600 children, we've got 60 clubs, so if every club paid for 10 boxes, that would cover the entire commitment for children in our district. That's ideal, that is great. I am not saying we should do it that way, because I know how much like the blue touch paper and retire, but that does work in a couple of districts, so certainly if clubs want to get together, not a problem. Any further queries, you can make that comment and ask the question via the funday, but not a problem.
I hope that answers your question, Barbara. Have you finished, Steve? You've got more to say?
I think so. I'm just looking down the list to see what I missed.
Can I just say, Steve, Barbara, the question continues in the context of can we put in 4.5 boxes or something like that? And unfortunately, it needs to be in whole lots of 30s.
Yeah. Correct. Just to reiterate, it is, as I said, it's £30 a box, so we are accepting multiples only of £30. 30, 60, 90, 150, 300, 600, and so on. One thing I did neglect to mention, that this is not, repeat, not the Shoebox initiative. The Shoebox initiative is a completely and utterly a separate item. We are talking Rotary Christmas toy boxes. For Christmas only, it is not the Shoebox. I know there's been 1 or 2 questions about that. The Shoebox initiative is completely separate. And this is for children in a domestic violence refuge in Rotary, in Great Britain and Northern Ireland only.
The person who's just asked, does each child receive a whole box? Carol, Gordon, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, if I could, the key is the toy box is per child, but it's given to the mother for the mother to give to the child. So it's not from charity. The mother will know by the Rotary sticker that it's from Rotarians, but the child gets every toy in the box. And it'll be a minimum of 8 toys and all brand new, Monopoly, cuddly toy, etc.
And to reiterate, the value of around £80 or up to £80. So Hope that answers your query, Carol. Steve, any more?
I don't think I'm just scrolling down now. I've had the opportunity to look at the questions on the chat. Really, I'm hoping that I've covered most as I go down. Really,
Keith has asked. Keith, I think we did cover this, but Keith, the toys are age matched. Again, Gordon, do you want to say how that gets done?
Yeah, we do age 3 to 5 boy and 3 to 5 girl, 5 to 7 boy and 5 to 7 girl, and then 8 plus unisex.
And Eva is asking Gordon about, for interest's sake, will we get information about what kind of toys are going into the boxes?
What type of toys?
Yeah, is that Eva's asked? I'll read it out. Do you have a list somewhere of what you include in the box?
We can provide a list. What we did and have is a survey from about 3,500 children, and we gave them a list of toys to pick from, and it was amazing the different toys that different age groups did. Girls aged over 8, the number one toy they put down, which wasn't on the list, was a hairdryer. And of course, you forget that they're living in refuge with nothing. So we provide what they want. Every single boy, virtually, in fact, I think it was put down a ball. So we try and put a ball in the small one for the younger child and a bigger one for the older child. The 5 to 7 year old girls were the only group that put down a science set. They were asked to pick 5 toys. What we virtually do is we can virtually guarantee they'll get 2 of the toys they've asked for, purely because of the percentages that asked. Hope that answers it.
Yeah, just a small point, Gordon. You said earlier on it was 2 to 16, and you just said the first age is 3 to 5. I assume it's 2 to 5, is it?
No, sorry. Yeah,
sorry, I'm being
got
pedantic
all the
here.
ages wrong. Apologies there. It's actually 2 to 5. It's 6 to 8, and then plus is the actual that we put on the toy box.
I'm just glad to find something you got wrong for once. Gordon, you never get anything wrong.
No, the 2 to 5 is the hardest one. We actually tend to put the older toys in there for the 2-year-old that will grow into. But there's a cuddly toy in every toy box, even for the older children. We call it a perfect bear. It's actually part of our coping strategy with the practitioners.
And without specifying what they've given, but will we have information about who the suppliers are? I mean, I know you've mentioned a few people privately, but there are some companies who are particularly generous so that Rotarians know which companies are giving support, or do you not do that?
We haven't done that in the past, but the 2 that have come in big time at this time is once again Hasbro, and the other is Aurora Toys, but other companies support. Those 2 companies give us free toys, like 1,000 Monopoly sets. The other companies give us roughly cost price or very cheap end of line things. And that's how we can afford to do so much. Unfortunately, we don't have, if anyone online's got contacts with FedEx or any of the carriers, that would really help, because we don't have one this year, and that's going to cost us £3-4 per toy box to send now out to the refuge, which it would be good to get a part if anyone knows anyone. Ural did it last year for us, but unfortunately change of management, not doing it this year.
Elizabeth asked whether there are other programs apart from toy boxes working with the same children. Obviously, we have the Rotary Children's Funday, Elizabeth, where you and in your club can, if you have a relationship with your local refuge, you can do something, give a day out for the children there. But also, as you've heard, we partner with Kids in Mind, and their main program, as Gordon said earlier on, is to provide support all the year round of a more therapeutic nature. But Rotary's 2 main programs are supporting the Kids in Mind Rotary Toy Box at Christmas and the Rotary Children's Funday in the summertime. But Elizabeth, if you've got ideas for other things, pitch them,
Steve, could I just also stay in that context? There is also the team within your humanitarian service focusing around domestic abuse and violence against the person generally, not just working with refuges and people in refuges, but in many other areas. And it's a lot of things are happening across Great Britain and Ireland by Rotarians on the ground and clubs on the ground. So, you know, lots of opportunities to get involved. And Gordon has alluded slightly to the work that they're very much focused on with kids in mind and the mental health aspect of it. And in the new year, Gordon, there'll be more news of how Rotarians can get involved, won't there?
I'm aware that we had some questions asked in advance. I don't know if Steve, you've got quick. Hang on, I've got another. Hang on, Steve. Before you answer, I'm going to ask Gordon a question, and can you have a quick look through to make sure we've answered all those? But Gordon, Carol has asked, do you manage to deliver to the majority of refuges? Is your logistics that good that you can get out to most of the refuges?
We have a list. I haven't looked updated list, but last year it was 452 staffed refuges. We speak to them all. A lot come back and say we don't need toys. We get plenty from local community or from elsewhere. When I say a lot, I'm talking maybe 10, 15. The vast majority ask for toys, and we fully expect to be delivering 4,000 or 5,000 toy boxes this year. I mean, we did 3,500 last year.
Yeah, but I think they're remarkable. The way that Kids in Mind have their network. Right, Steve, did we cover the pre-asked questions?
Yeah, just to follow up with that one has to say, and it's always been the case since we started the Rotary Children's Toy Box 4 or 5 years ago. The worst thing that can happen at a refuge is that if there's 10 children and we send 10 boxes, and whoa, hang on a minute, people. Another two turn up at short notice. The worst thing that can happen is that out of the 12 children, those 2 children don't get boxes from Santa or from Rotary. So I have to say, part of the money that we pay, the £30, for instance, apart from covering some of the on costs, it also makes sure that it allows Kids in Mind to deliver, parachuting almost at the last minute, so 2 boxes, such that that refuge does have 12 boxes rather than the original 10, so nobody at that one refuge misses out, and that is a really key point. You think about it, folks, missing out, these 2 kids in a refuge don't get boxes and the other 10 do, and that's where really, it's where that money covers it. Absolutely fantastic.
And this is why we need the information about, you know, we need, if you're working with a refuge and you're having that dialogue, please let Kids in Mind know, because
and I do know it's not a case of just phoning up a refuge and say, hello, Joe Blogs, we wanted to give you some toy boxes, how many kids have you got? Hey, if it was only as simple as one phone call and getting one answer, it just doesn't happen like that. You've got to get out to the right person at the right time with the right information, and that may take quite some time, emails and phone calls. So that's what goes on behind the scenes, the hassle and the aggro, if you like, that makes the system work. And this is where Kids in Mind do a lot of this work behind the scene, and all for the fact of 30 quid that we as Rotarians give per box. Anyway, enough of that.
Steve, have we answered all the questions that were asked?
Firstly, Anne Heath from the 1180 says, the advisors, she's an advisor for the Liverpool area. Yes, all the advisors should be giving out the information within their districts of the approximate location and the indicative number of children. So if you don't know which is your nearest refuge in your district, then please contact your local Rotary Children's Funday advisor. As I said before, all districts bar 1150, 1160 and 1285 do not have advisors. So all the other 21 districts have. If you don't know who they are, email on the Funday.
And Steve, we've had a question from Michael in Wales saying, if they don't have an advisor, what do we do? Michael, you use the, hang on, Steve, I can answer it. You use the funday at rotarygbi.org, email, and it will probably be Steve or Dorothy will answer your query. Yeah. So although you don't have a local advisor, you have the support from the centre.
In that case, send it to Funday. It'll probably, in that case, because there's no advisor, that will probably fall on my lap to deal with. And rest assured, you get a quick response. Moving on, questions we've not answered.
We've had a point, Ray, a very generous offer from Eva in Twickenham, Gordon, who has both some items that she think might be included, and she's willing to help with distribution if that's relevant. Eva, can you write your offer in to funday@rotarygbi.org, and we'll pass all the information on. Gordon has also in the chat actually kindly given his number, so I'm assuming Gordon, Eva could ring you. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, thumbs up from the boss. So Eva, ring Gordon with your offer. It sounds like a very kind offer, and I'm sure Kids in Mind will be very grateful.
Yeah.
Steve?
Yeah, the bottom line here is any particular queries or questions or comments, go through Funday, we'll pick up and action it. That's what it's all about, particularly if you want to volunteer to pack, because we are forming a register, a list of people who are interested. Important, go through Funday, say who you are, your club, location, and we will make contact, formulate the list, and once we know the full details of when packing is available, we'll be in touch with you directly.
The person who asked about the email address, Jannine, has put it in the chat, and I'll ask her, Jannine, can you put it in again? So the email we keep mentioning, we want you all to tattoo it somewhere private, or even public. But no, it's Jannine's put it out there again. Whoever it was who asked, Jannine's put it out there again. Steve?
Yeah, moving on. Yes, Scotland. There was a particular question regarding Scotland. And yes, and we do know it's a large area with only 2 districts. I can tell you that District 1010, there are, we've got a total of, on the list of our refugees, we have 17 with a total of 331 children. District 1320, we've got 29 refugees and 587 children. I appreciate there's lots of spare green space and hills and glens around there, but if you're worried about exactly where's your nearest refuge in Scotland, again, the Funday, we have the list, we're here to help you. We can't guarantee that the refuge is going to be right on your doorstep, but we'll do our utmost to at least put you in the right direction and help you all we can.
Have we got
other than that, I think we've covered it. Well, as far as I can see, we've covered everything, non-Rotarians.
Okay, we've got, while you're looking, that we've had another question just about under 3s. What was the question, Jannine? I can't see it in the chat.
It was because the age was 3 to 5, and now we know it's 2 to 5.
Oh, that was
what happens to the younger people? And there's also a question in if there are more boxes donated for than are needed, could they be used at a different time of year? Thinking obviously for cultures where Christmas is not a relevant time, but I'll leave you to answer that.
Do you ever have spare boxes, Gordon?
Not now. I tell you what, if we get spare boxes oversubscribed, I will gladly do Eid on top of that if that's what you're wanting to do. But we're nowhere near the money for what we're actually paying out. But this year is going to be different, so thank you.
Yeah, and there's also in terms of the cash, everyone, there's a mutuality with the Children's Funday. So the money can go forward to help supporting the Funday as well. Once we know that every child who we know about has got a box, so it stays within the Rotary service system. Shahed, let me know if I can help. Yeah, that's great, Shahed. Yes, you can. Oswald Twistle, is that in Yorkshire?
1285.
Oh, is it? Where's that? It's over in Lancashire. Lancashire.
Yeah,
well, you can come over and join. You can come over and join us in Newcastle to help with the packing there, Shahed.
Yeah.
I'll get Norman to send. Norman is our district advisor in 1030, and he's organising the packing for us. So.
Yeah.
But also, Shahed, we are in the long term for next year. Really having something in Manchester, Liverpool would be really, really handy. So the thing you could help us with, if you know someone with a warehouse, I'd lend for a couple of weeks in somewhere in Merseyside or Greater Manchester, that would be great.
I mean, his club were involved with the Rotary Children's Funday recently as well. So they're aware.
There's a question that's come directly to me from Keith in District 1175. Do you work with TREVI? That's TREVI, Women's and Children's Refuge in the Southwest. Do we just put that through to the Funday email address?
Yeah, well, I've got it. Yeah, I could. Yeah, Yes, put that. The answer is yes. Put it through the funday. Well, as I say, we have a list, but we'll have a look, and if we're not, we'll follow it through and organise it accordingly.
Have we come to the end of everybody's list of questions? If anybody's asked a question on the chat and we've gone past it, shout at us, please. Is this available in District 1240, Steve?
Oh, I doubt it very much, really. No, it's available in every district. 1240, yes, I'm sure I shall get Pam Watson-Jones on the case. She's your district advisor. Put it on. You can just put, if I miss that one, on the chat or in the club, I shall make direct contact and Pam will speak to you directly. But
and, you know, just to read, sorry, Steve.
Yeah, just put it on the fun day. We'll pick up on it, and I'll make sure that Pam makes contact with you.
I'll come to your question, Marianne, in a minute. Just to reiterate to our friends from outside of Rotary Great Britain and Ireland, this is a Rotary Great Britain and Ireland initiative in the districts in these islands, and it's heartening to see, Dallas, that you're saying it's replicable and you'd like to learn. The best person to contact about that is Stephen Gordon, who, as Steve said, he's been involved in its various forms for 5 years, and Gordon's been doing it much longer. The real genius of this program is what Kids in Mind do about having a network of knowledge from the refuges about how many people and what the ages of the children are, and having that network supported by our resources coming in is brilliant. And Marianne, that answers your question. Yes, each year the lists and the types of toys and what's in is updated. The young people are asked, as Gordon said, and they come back with what they would like to see in a gift to them. So it's kept fresh and relevant. Steve?
Yeah, just to say, I had lots of questions, which is fantastic. Listen, we've got district advisors, you've got myself, you've got Dorothy, we've got the team behind it at Rotary GBandI. If you want an online discussion, regard presentation, talk at your club, your district, your area, whatever, then hey, fun day, let us know, and we'll come along and bore them to death with more detail. No, we'll come along and entice them to get involved. So
I think it might be a trip. I think it might be a trip to Zimbabwe, Steve. So.
Yeah, listen, we're available if you want more information, and to obviously virtually visit any club in Rotary GB in Northern Ireland.
Someone's asking, is it worth contacting? Oh, it's Marianne again. Is it worth contacting Royal Mail? Gordon, have you been in touch with them? Royal Mail as an option.
Oh, unfortunately, Royal Mail turned out to be the most expensive. We've tried Royal Mail. We've sent some by Royal Mail when it's been lastminute.com, but they were very expensive.
Paul from Bexley, thank you for your kind comment. I look forward to seeing you getting involved. That's great. And good night to the people saying goodbye, and thanks for the kind comments. Venue in an address for the venue in Northampton, Barbara, if you Barbara, yes, Steve will communicate that if people sign up to help.
We have all the details. It's a matter of just putting the times and dates together, Barbara. Be in touch, as you know. Barbara is the District 1260 advisor. And
thank you, Keith, for your kind words. But no, if you've signed up to help packing, wherever you are in the country, the details of the centres for packing and the dates when you're needed will be communicated. I think we're coming to the end. I mean, I hope you've all understood that we are trying in our own way to get as much information out of our heads into your heads as possible. If we haven't answered anything, please email us. Please contact us. We want everybody in Rotary to feel that this is a part of them, of their clubs and their districts. And it's you know, the intention is that the 5,500 children who have experienced domestic abuse and are living in women's refuges this Christmas will get a treat the same as children elsewhere. And thanks to Kids in Mind, it's achievable. And thanks to all of you in all the different Rotary clubs, we can work together to make it happen. I will for now finish off by passing over to the Head of Humanitarian Service, who has been running this show tonight. And thank you for the buttons and bells, Jannine. But over to you to say the final few words.
Thanks very much, Steve. I mean, I think everything has been said it's very much about a team effort, and it's about collaboration. Whatever we are, get out of our silos, get out of our egos, get out of our clubs or our hubs or whatever else. Let's just come together to make a real difference for young people through a very stressful period of time. And I'm really looking forward to linking in with the mental health side of things. This is one of the 9 teams there are around unifying themes for humanitarian service. And I'm delighted that one of the other teams is mental health and well-being, and Gordon is a member of the mental health and well-being team, and you're going to be hearing more about that, and also from Kids in Mind's perspective as well, and the work that they're wanting support and help with through Rotary, through Rotarians rolling up their sleeves and doing things. It links in so much with the mental health and well-being team. It links in so much with the domestic abuse and violence against the person team. It's about how we actually collaborate much more within our organisation and with others. And don't forget, we are looking for help. We're looking for additional people to get involved as part of the team. There's 2 vacancies to join the existing team, to shadow the work that's being done, so that we've got continuity and, extra work, because we're hoping that we're going to be so busy. We're going to have more than enough boxes for this year, and there's going to be more than enough money for going forward. And that the Rotary Children's Fund Day 2026, you'll hear all about that in January. So, let's really work together. Thank you to everybody that's on this call and taken time out of their evening. And please share it, infect others with just £30. Maybe it's a Rota Kids group that together want to fundraise for £30, whether it's a community group that you work with. Please get involved. Really simple, makes a huge difference for everybody that is part of that process. Thank you so much. Thank you, Steve, Gordon, and everyone else.
And thank you for all the technical stuff. Good night, everyone. Look forward to working with you. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you all. Thanks to the advisors who are online. Be in touch. Carry on the good work.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Bye.